All right. Well, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio. I'm your host, Matt Heinz. Excited to have you all here in the middle of your workday, in the middle of your work week. We are somehow, Alex, into late September now as we record this, which is nuts. But here we are. So excited to have you here. If you're joining us live on Sales Pipeline Radio today, we're excited to have you here. If you want to be part of the show, make a comment, ask a question, make a rebuttal. Any of those are fair game. We will see those. We can respond to those. We can bring your comment or question up on air onto the screen. So make you part of the show. And thank you for doing so. If you're watching or listening on demand, thank you so much for being part of the Sales Pipeline Radio community. Every episode is available past, present, and future at salespipelineradio.com. And very excited to have with us today the founder and CEO of Salesbox.ai, Alex Roy. Alex, thanks very much for joining us today.
Hello, nice to be here. Excited to be here, Matt.
All right, so when we talked earlier, and you brought up this idea of AI native demand generation, I don't think I'd heard anyone describe that before. We've seen and worked with a lot of companies that are heavily incorporating AI into various go-to-market motions. But I'm curious, maybe let's just start with just an introduction to yourself and what is AI native demand gen?
Sure, yeah. It's about, AI has been around for several years. And when we talk about AI native demand gen, it's about having an AI agent that is ingesting signals, real-time signals, and making decisions, and making sure that it is orchestrating other agents to make sure that the right person gets the right message at the right time. And so it's integrated. You don't have different silos of systems in place. So the data is available as well as the signals go to an AI agent that takes those decisions.
So for those that are thinking about incorporating this, how is this different than just the traditional demand gen? Is this new, or is this an evolution? How should people think about it?
Sure. Yeah. So I would say in the past, the fundamentals still remain the same, right? But what's different is that probably, end of the day, we have to stay human. We have to stay, make sure each account and each person and each contact has the right experience. But unfortunately, we couldn't do that at scale. We had to make sure that, we had to kind of divide it into personas and, probably just look at a few, maybe a handful of them and have one set of message for each of those. But with an AI agent, what you're able to do now is that give each account and each contact the right attention that they truly deserve. So it can be orchestrated at scale and helps you make sure that you're earning the trust of that buying group.
As the complexity of go-to-market motions and complexity of buying journeys continue to grow, that we're also seeing, of course, board members and investors saying, do more with less, be more efficient. And yet the motions we're trying to execute often are really struggling with speed to market and efficiency, right? Can you talk about how AI can really directly address that, not in a future state, but right now?
Sure. Yeah. So bandwidth is usually the biggest constraint that we have as marketers, and an AI agent helps gives you that scale wherein you are able to be more efficient, because now you have the agent take on some of the laborious tasks, be it from signals. You have thousands of signals, but distilling down that into the right ones, the noise out of the signals. Yep. That's where the agent helps you. So it makes you overall more efficient in terms of that.
And what does that mean in terms of real-time intent signals? I think we've had signals around for a while. How is AI different? How is it different in terms of speed, in terms of context, in terms of, everything?
Yeah. So when it comes to intent signals, the key is time, because it's ephemeral. You have to act on it quickly. And a good example of an intent signal is somebody showing up on your website, and there's thousands of visitors each month that a company has. And these signals needs to be inferenced, and you have to identify which account it is, which person it is, and then have personalized conversations. So an AI agent helps you facilitate that.
So walk me through an example of that, right? So let's say I'm an inside sales rep, I'm a BDR. Is this following up on leads I already have? Is it identifying new leads I should engage with? Is it a little bit of both?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? So typically what you have in an organization is, there's a sales focused set of accounts that, sales is looking at. There is a wider set of accounts that marketing is looking at. And then there are these white space accounts, right? So what the agent is doing is, it's listening for signals, and first party signals is very important. And as you know, and off the website, it listens for that. And it tries to find, does that match your ICP? Is that part of a sales focus account, or is that a marketing focus account? And then it hands it over to another agent that is going to have that communication. So for example, if it were a sales focus account, it's going to be having a play which is on behalf of the sales rep, and the goal is to get to a meeting. And whereas if it's a marketing focus, it's a wider account, it goes into a nurture stream. So it's not just a single agent, but starts from a signal, but then the next best action is handed off to another agent, depending on how relevant it is within that ICP.
Talking today on Sales Pipeline Radio with Alex Roy. He's the CEO and founder of salesbox.ai. It's one thing to talk about what the technology can do. It's another thing, Alex, and directly, is to get people to actually do this at scale, right? From your work, what do you see as some of the biggest barriers to getting sales and marketing teams to not just experiment with AI? This isn't thinking about this not just as a tool, but as infrastructure, as part of a consistent, complex playbook. What are some of the barriers keeping people from doing that?
There's the number one, I would say, is resistance to change. There is a bit of an unknown, so it's about taking that first step. It's about, we always recommend to our customers to list down the tasks, that's part of, your go-to-market that you do today. And then, the first step is to make sure, identify the task from that list, which could be automated. That could be, where you could have assistance of an AI agent. And what the agent really is doing is helping you to get to more detail than you could possibly have done earlier. So probably, you were, it's not like it's taking off, it's doing more work than what you were able to do earlier.
Yeah. And I think, is there a phased work program you recommend people? I think if you're thinking about doing AI native demand gen, oftentimes if we're doing a test with a client, or sort of recommending, it's not just launch everything right away, do it in a particular market, do it in a particular industry, pick a segment of the sales team to start it with. Kind of, is there a phased approach you recommend people think about that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. So we recommend, it starts with signals. So, we recommend a subset, a specific product page on your website where you add a tag so that the agent is listening for the intent on that specific set of pages. It's probably, perhaps product centric. And, so you have, you look to have the agent identify who is on the website, which company is there, and then orchestrate plays based on that. So, yes, a phased approach is always the recommended way to proceed.
I've seen some reports already of, like Forrester, for instance, is saying that they might be seeing some budget cuts in 2026, which I think might be just sort of exhausting to people that have been through what they feel like has been 2-3 years of doing this. I feel like we're getting to this point where this is not just optional, right? That adopting these programs is kind of mandatory if you want to survive. And I think, can you talk about not just the program implications? You mentioned earlier just the culture change is required internally to make this move. What are you seeing from CMOs and CROs that are operationalizing this quickly, but also managing the human element behind it?
Yeah, so budgets is a challenge, like you rightly pointed out, and it's forcing teams to be more efficient. It's about unifying the MarTech stack that you have. It's about making sure that there is there's less inefficient systems in within that MarTech stack. So we work with them in a phased approach, like I mentioned earlier, and it starts with a specific use case, and usually that's about the inbound leads that's coming in onto your website, and how can an agent help you there is where we start.
So I think about this. I mean, we've been talking as sort of almost with the assumption that this is sort of a direct sales engagement, but it strikes me that this can impact partner and channel sales as well. Have you seen those use cases?
Yeah. So one of the challenges which companies have is that the partner has, the product knowledge that the partner has is limited. They have multiple products they're looking at also. So an agent that is knowledgeable makes the partner more knowledgeable indirectly as well. So the use cases where we give an agent to the partner that's grounded to reality by the product collateral which is available. So the partner readily is able to access that information and and be more knowledgeable when presenting that to customers.
Can you help with a little expectation setting for programs like this? Whether you're taking a phased approach or implementing a technology like this, like how much time does that take? How many people does it take to implement it? How much time does it take to implement? And then what should people's expectations be about how and when it starts to deliver results?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of rollouts, typically we see like 2 weeks to 4 weeks, somewhere in between that, in terms of timelines. And part of it also has to do with, there's some back and forth with the marketing team and the IT team as well. But generally we see about 2 weeks to 2 to 4 weeks.
And then I love asking the question about doing a sort of a pre-post mortem, right? Like if someone implemented sort of these programs today, if we're talking about 3 months from now and they have not been as successful as people want, if you do the post-mortem, then what are the things you hear most often? Like, what are the things that most often keep a program like this from being successful that people that are leaning in and saying, like, I need to adopt this should be aware of and prepare for now so that they increase their chances of success?
Sure. Yeah. So for example, let's say, the KPIs where we wanted to generate more intent leads and content leads, right? So intent leads is visitors that you convert into leads, web visitors. So you have to commit, sending the right audience to those pages as well. So let's say it's like setting up a mousetrap, but then, you're not driving, the right folks there, right? So yeah, so it's about, making sure that you also have a marketing program to drive the right audience to those pages. And then the agent is able to engage with them, identify them, and then engage with them. So that's number one. The other is, the other metric we look at is, so we have an integrated asset hub. You have an asset hub where the agent is knowledgeable about the assets. So it's able to, another KPI we typically look at is, how many marketing qualified leads were you organically able to generate, and, how many conversations were created. So those broadly, I would say, are the three key metrics that would come out of this as an outcome.
I'm curious to hear from your perspective. This is a little take a different approach. Just the speed of innovation happening in an AI forward company right now versus sort of traditional growth and development cycles. I mean, from the outside, it seems like things are moving incredibly fast. And I can only imagine that growing a company in this space is controlled chaos. What's it like on the inside, sort of riding this enormous tidal wave right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, over the last 10 years, we have gone through multiple eras of evolution, I would say. Started back in the days with, you have classification models, it's neural network based, and now you have the LLM based models. So it's about evolving, like you mentioned, and being engineered to evolve, right? So which is very important. So one of the examples is we look at specific use cases and which is the right model for that. Should that be using a fine-tuned model that we have versus, for this specific task, there's another model to use. So it's about plugging in the right models for the right use case, I would say. And
and I think, I think about integration of these programs as well. Like the volume of tools that marketing operations folks at RevTech, people are managing is significant. I'm hoping that you are going to help us build, and you envision a day when we may have separate tools, but AI actually helps them operate and integrate and communicate with each other a little more seamlessly. And I am hoping that actually solves what many people have as a data management problem as well, which inhibits AI from oftentimes doing what it's what it needs to do. How do you envision the future of the tools, the data, the integrations happening?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like you rightly mentioned, for AI, you need to make sure the data is accurate, that it works on the right data, right? And in terms of tools, also there are protocols like MCP, which vendors are using to enable the existing agent with additional skills, you could say. So give it additional context. So it's about, you would see each of the product in the MarTech stack has this connector back to this agent, and enables the agent to be more productive across different systems. And at the same time, IT needs to be able to set certain ground rules, access controls, etc. also. So it's almost an additional person within the organization that's utilizing these permissions and making good things happen.
I think maybe more than any technology we've seen before, AI has democratized software development, right? I mean, the vibe coding is real. You can talk to a machine and it will build something for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is changing how many people think about managing their own technical expertise as business leaders. What advice would you give someone sort of new, sort of recent college grad who's trying to figure out what skills they need to have, who in the past, unless they were a developer, didn't worry about needing to build code? What advice do you give to that up and coming business leader now? I was building to my theme there, and I think I lost Alex. Did we lose Alex right before my last question to him? Oh, no, we did lose Alex. Well, anyway, thank you, Alex, for joining us today on Sales Pipeline Radio. Really appreciate everyone joining and listening to us as well. Have a great week. We'll see you next week on another episode of Sales Pipeline Radio. Until then, be well. Take care.